Everyone wants more money, but most of us weren't taught how to create an abundant life. That's where the More Money Show comes in. If you're ready to have more money, create more freedom, and experience more fun, turn the volume up. It's time to learn how to create the prosperity and life you have been dreaming of. Here's your host, Cassie Parks.
Hello and welcome to this episode of More Money. I am here with Skye Frank. So excited to talk to her today. This is interview number 2 in the Year of Growth series. And so you've heard her before. She's back about 60 days into the Enchanted Circle at this point. So Skye, tell me what's awesome.
Well. So you know how I started the Enchanted Circle when I was kind of in like the famine phase of the business cycle, which I was learning, with most hospitality or whatever, is kind of slow during that time period. So I was kind of in like, oh my God phase. How's and ever, I have moved beyond that phase to, for April, I am fully booked. Yes, ahead of time. Remember we kind of talked about that?
Yes.
I am fully booked for April and almost fully booked for May. And it is March.
That is amazing. It's the beginning of March. Let's just even say that. It's the beginning of March.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's the beginning of March. And I have full booking. And I am at, I guess, the 10th, just shy of 10K for the schedule for the month of April.
Woohoo! That's awesome.
There's my manifest 10K all in one and everything.
All in one. That's amazing. How does that feel?
It feels really good. It's like I've been here before, but I had forgotten, like when I first started, I was here like the first year was like super busy again with the whole Trump, the whole Trump thing has kind of affected the business cycle, with international students. So I lost a part of my market that, had made the difference. However, the universe has found a way to replenish that market for me. So I'm very happy with that.
Don't you love that? How does it feel to not feel like, oh, some external force could
right?
Just
and that was definitely awesome. It's nice that I realized that I have more control over manifesting and designing the life that I choose, and that the universe will accommodate those business cycles and those shifts. So, by the way, I'm putting it out there for the next cycle that normally other hospitality people get slow, and mine is going to be thriving and fully booked then as well. See, I'm setting that right now.
Yeah, I love it. And of course it's going to be true because you are somebody who's continually scripting and stepping into your future self, scripting and stepping in, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I love it. So what do you think is the biggest difference in the last 60 days in what you've learned or who you've become?
Scripting. Because in the last 60 days, I was recently talking to you about this in that my mind works overtime and it's overactive. And what happens is, what I'm learning is the reason I find I get anxiety is because my mind is trying to figure out how to do everything and I don't have a way of doing it. So then it stresses me. But what scripting has allowed me to do is relinquish the need to control the tactics and just focus on the long-term. I'm listening to you doing business stuff. Focus on the long-term strategy versus all the individual tactics to get me there. And then it's like it releases the need to control and also releases the anxiety that I was feeling.
I love that. So exciting. Without, just by stepping in, right? Not without doing a lot of other things to try and control it, just by scripting and being your future self.
Focusing on the end game, focusing on the end result.
Yes.
And things are moving. Things like, I'll say this one situation. So I'll give you an example. Crazy. And this is why I said the scripting and not having to figure out everything. So I had 2 long-term guests who wanted 1 room or 2 rooms or whatever. And I was trying to figure out a way of scheduling them so that I didn't want to lose either one of them there because there were 2 really great bookings. They're like 6-month bookings each. And I didn't want to lose either. I know, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I like how I throw that in there. So I didn't want to lose either one. And I was trying to figure out how can I accommodate them on my schedule, because the person wanted to come in March. Both of them wanted to come in March. And I only had 1 room available for March. But if somebody could have waited till April, I would have been able to accommodate them both. So I was like, oh my God, how am I going to do this? Turns out one of the guys' job was like, yo, I can't pay you if you don't work these last 2 weeks. So he was just like, Skye, can I come in April? It's like, deuces. Of course you can, sir. You can come in April. And I was like, man. So that was just, and I had, when it happened, I was just like, wow. I said, I had to really sit back and say to myself, I was like, that's not my job to figure this out. My job is not to figure this out. My job is to stay in the place, in the vibrational space, in my future self. My job is to connect with my future self and stop trying to figure out how I'm going to get there. Just trust the process. I mean, it literally floored me because I was like, it was perfect. That was literally the thing. I was like, I don't want to lose either one of them. They're both 6-month bookings. How could I keep them both? How could, and I was trying to move people, didn't have to do any of that. He called me, he's like, oh, I don't need to start till April. Good.
I love that. That is amazing. And so I think one of the things that I want to bring this up, we didn't talk about it before the call, but your script doesn't even have anything to do with business, right? And so I want to highlight that for people because I say that all the time, but this is real life. Your script has nothing to do with business, and yet your business is getting booked.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, it is. My script is actually about me being on vacation with my friends and my husband, and it's reveling in that time with them. Mm-hmm. So it's funny, and here's the other thing that's starting to happen. I've noticed this year, a lot of people have been approaching me with vacations. One of them being Thailand. I don't know if I talked about this in my last one, but
I don't think so.
Thailand was on my bucket list that we talked about 2 years ago as one of those items that it would be indicative of me living my future self.
Yep.
And my friend asked me if I wanted to go to Thailand this year for her birthday. I was just like, absolutely. Now, we haven't figured that again, it's not my job to figure out how I'm going to get there. My job is to just be there, is be that person who goes to Thailand, goes to my other cousin's wedding in Mexico, and goes to whatever other trip I decide I want to go on this year.
Yes. And so tell us, because I think this is important to share too, when the trip to Thailand, what was your first thought? When she's like, hey, you want to go to Thailand?
Absolutely. I said yes. The first thing was yes, because also last year it fell through because my other girlfriend asked. Now, I don't know how this is possible. My other girl asked me if I wanted to go to Dubai last year. She ended up not going. Dubai was also on my list of the 5 top places I wanted to go.
Of course it was.
Now, I'm waiting for somebody to ask me about Bali because then we're going to know for sure.
Well, Jenny and I just talked about doing an event in Bali. So there you go.
Okay. So like all of those things. And it's just like when I sit back and realize and stop and get out of my own way and trust. I think that's the hardest thing that we as human beings, especially given the programming of our society, that you have to be a hard worker. You have to do everything you do. Work hard so that you can be successful. You have to do all these things. You have to constantly be grinding in order to achieve a goal. And what happens is when you're not in that space, you feel inadequate. You feel like you're not doing what you're supposed to. So you constantly have the desire to do versus be. And so what happens is you lose the magic when you're constantly doing and not allowing the being.
Yes.
So,
and is that something that has really sunk in the last 60 days?
Yes. That is the big, because again, I told you I took this 2 years ago.
Yep.
And it clicked in my brain this time.
Yeah.
And like you said, you're probably only able to take in what you can take in at that moment. But this time, the beingness has really impacted me. The understanding of the need to be has impacted me.
I totally get that because that even still happens to me. I'll look at something I did 2 years ago and go, oh, like then that felt like I was really letting go. Like I feel like the first time you came home from the workshop, you were probably like, oh yeah, because everything just started happening and you're like, okay. And so you got it on a certain level then. And then when you did it 2 years later, it's like, oh, okay, now I got this whole deeper level of what it actually means to be. And I find that all the time. I'll look back on 2 years and on something that I was like, oh yeah, it's totally like letting go there. And I was like, oh, but you could have let go. When I look back, I'm like, oh, but you could have let go this other way, and this other way. Yeah. So I think it's just a process. And I love that you're embracing that beingness. And so how does that impact your everyday life and how you feel?
It's definitely, I mean, I definitely have to catch myself, because I mean, I that is what I've done my entire life. I mean, I decided to become an entrepreneur at 27. I started my own company at 27. So I was programmed in my mind to work, and I'm always been a self-motivated individual. So my thing was do. This is what you're going to do. And not doing is very, it's very interesting for me, in that like I was explaining to you, I feel bored because my day is not filled with doing. So what I realized is, what could I fill my days with if it's not filled with doing? What do I want to truly do? And one of the things was that I'm traveling. So I want to travel. So what I'm going to do is spend my days traveling. And I'm putting it out there that I want to spend more time seeing the world, because that is my desire and goals, are to just travel the world. So the boredom was a space that came about because I was not used to just being still. So I had to get comfortable with that, with not doing something before I could start being something.
Yes.
So it took me a while to get there, because I was telling you, Cassie, I was like, I don't know if I manifested the right thing, because I don't think I'm not comfortable here. Yes. And it wasn't until I actually started talking to you about that, until I started scripting more and started doing that, I realized I am where I wanted to be, because I had to get comfortable with being still. And I wasn't comfortable with not doing something.
Yes.
So once I was able to get comfortable with not doing something, inspiration came in and said, okay, now you can go travel, Skye. Duh.
Right. It's so obvious, but it's not when you're like, oh, I gotta do, right?
Right. And I don't understand how I didn't think of that before, but you know.
I know, but it happens all the time. Like, it's like, oh, of course that's the answer, right?
Yeah. So you have the space now to travel and live the dream life of traveling the world and seeing all those spots that you wanted to see. I was like, oh.
Yeah.
So,
I love it. Yeah.
That was a more recent revelation that occurred to me, as again with the scripting and just stepping more into more of my beingness. More and more of my being was able to talk to me and say, you're cool with being chill, because I was like, oh, I'm bored, I don't know what to do with my life, so
yeah, I love that. And so
the inspiration came, so that's what I plan on doing.
So I want to reiterate that for just people listening, because I totally get it, and I make sure everybody gets it. It's, you have to stop the doing, be okay in the stillness with what you created, because this is what you want, right? And basically what you're saying, just to give people a little background, is you retired after the first workshop within like 6 to 9 months.
Yeah, right? I just shy of 1 year. I kind of skidded in there in December. Like,
oh yeah, I remember. It was like, I did it. Yeah. And then you had all this space and this time, and you were starting to feel like, well, maybe I didn't do it right. But it was that you were uncomfortable with that space and that time, but you had to be there in that space that felt like being still and it feels a little uncomfortable, or a lot uncomfortable sometimes, in order to get that inspiration of what's next. Yeah. So I just wanted to, you said it very good, but I think it's so important that everybody needs, because everybody thinks like, oh, I'm going to go from this doing, like I'm going to go from doing to like traveling, right? Or like being here. And it just, you can't, because you have to transition who you are to be able to be that person who's fully present in your script, in your vacation with your friends and your husband.
And it took a while. It took it took several months, almost. Almost a year now.
Yeah.
It took a minute, because it was just, what do I do with myself?
That's awesome that you did it in a year, because I think what some people do is they manifest that freedom, and then they keep filling it with the doing stuff. They keep the hustle, keep the grind, keep doing it, and don't ever get that space, because it is kind of, I had to go through that when I quit my job. Like, okay, now what do I do with all this space in my day? Like, I have Monday through Friday that I have time, not just Saturday and Sunday. Yeah. All right, cool. So let's talk about, we talk about the Script Your Happy Ever After workshop.
Mm-hmm.
I love the smile on
Yes,
your face.
yes.
Mhm.
Oh my goodness.
Tell me about some ahas from that or that experience.
That experience was very interesting in that I was just before the workshop, I was seeing a gentleman who I enjoyed very much. And that relationship ended in a friendly manner. But what I realized from that is that that experience allowed me to pull a lot of attributes and a lot of experiences that I wanted in my future relationship with my husband, etc. So I feel like that was kind of, that relationship kind of gave me something to go, ooh, this is what I want, this is what I want, this is what I want. So it was actually kind of cool in that right before my scripting workshop, I kind of went in there with a bag of stuff that I wanted to have. So that was kind of cool.
That was
And and then also as I was scripting, there was another gentleman, an ex that I was seeing that, was kind of dilly-dallying around. And I was like, yeah, you're not the one, because I scripted a very different person than this person was. So I that kind of gave me a lot of clarity as well. So
yeah.
those were the kind of big aha moments from my script.
I love it.
Workshop.
Once you were able to see the guy that was sort of, dilly-dallying around versus your script, was it easy to go like,
Yeah, no. No. You are not the one.
I love that.
Yeah.
And did that create like even more space and freedom?
Yeah, it did. And it also gave me closure.
Mm.
I was trying to explain this to my girlfriend. They were just like, why are you talking to him? I said, because I was finally able to verbalize and express everything I had never got to do before. And it felt great. It felt great to do that without attachment. It felt great to do that without feeling some kind of way. And it was just like, I finally it was a cathartic experience for me.
That's awesome. Oh, that's fantastic. I love it. So tell, because I know you're a big fan. You're like, you got to do that workshop again. Tell someone why they would want to take that workshop, or they should take that workshop.
I think it's the same reason why you would take any workshop that you're trying. If you want to design or create the life that you want, there's certain aspects to that. There's like, was it your health, your family, your love life, your money, all those things. So the workshops allow you to take each, I guess, module of your future life, or the life that you want, and actually design it so that you can basically have the life that you want. You're able to design each aspect of your life to your specifications or your desires or whatever it is that you dream or aspire to.
Yeah.
So, and for women, I know especially, being in a relationship is a huge part of their lives. I mean, not all women, but for my person, I desire to have a partner. I desire to have somebody to share my life with. So I wanted the opportunity, just like it was very important to me to have a thriving business. Those are my two things. Anybody that knows me knows that's what I'm about. And the business aspect is kind of on, I've got that kind of going well. So now I was just like, well, let me work on this relationship part. So I'm working on that, because those are the two things at this point in my life that are important to me.
Mm-hmm. I love that. Was there any part of you, and I don't know because I didn't ask you this before, but that you had to script like a big enough partner to support the life you'd already created?
Yeah, and I know that the partners that I've had in the past definitely could not support the life that I have, or the life that I am aspiring to. So definitely understand now, after defining the life that I've created for myself, that they definitely would not have been able to, walk that path with me. And it's okay. They have a different path. They have a different life. It's just not ours just didn't conjoin.
Yeah. I love that. And it's easy when you see, or at least for me, I don't know for you, but it's easy when you see like, oh yeah, you're not that person. So it's clear why, you're not still here because you can't walk that path, right?
Right.
Yeah.
You just simply are just not the person on my script. There's no malice, there's no wrong or right. It's just, you're just not that person that's in the script. It's, not right or wrong. It's not a slam. It's not any deficiency. It's just, you're not the person that fits this puzzle.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I love that description. That's what exactly perfect. It's not, you're just not the person who fits the puzzle. And it just makes it easier. Like you just said, it takes the drama out of, worrying about anything in the past, which I love. I love it. So describe trust in this whole process. And I know you've had to have some conversations in your own mind about this.
Yeah. That is the single biggest, I think, deterrent that people have, is trusting something, unknown, unseen, all that other stuff. It's because it's because you cannot, it's not material. It's something, it's you have to just trust. And it's just like no other way. I don't even understand how you define trust, but being able to believe in something that has not materialized yet. But that's also the same missing component that every successful person says you have to be able to have, is being able to believe in your success without it being material in your present. You have to be able to see the vision manifest in your mind, in your idea, and believe in within yourself that this is going to happen without any sort of evidence in your current state for you to be able to get to that place. And I think that is probably the hardest thing most people have to do.
Mm-hmm.
It's just trusting in. And it takes, and I battle my own mind, because we as humans, our minds are set up to protect us from danger, all those other things. So it creates this questioning mechanism in your head that causes you to question, well, why are you doing this, guy? Why are you doing? Will this keep you safe? It's all in an effort to keep you safe. But that questioning is what you have to silence and just be like, yo, I got this. Just be quiet and follow the process and just trust the process. Because once you can quiet your mind and you can trust the process, it works. You just have to. And that's everybody's internal battle. And everybody has a different internal battle. It's easier. And again, with me, it's easier in some areas, and I think it has to do with the level of importance a particular area or particular things has in your life. The more you quote unquote feel it's important for you, the more desire you have for it, I think it's harder to relinquish control to get it when it means something so much to you. So usually in those situations, those are usually the hardest things to trust.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to develop, I guess, a muscle, just like you develop any other body muscle in your body, brain, or what have you. You have to develop the trust muscle, and it takes time. It takes just like working out, because I work out, a lot, and you get stronger. You get stronger at it. You're always going to find, what I find is, I don't think you ever get it done. I don't think you ever get it perfect. You're always going to be in a situation where your trust muscle is being strengthened, because what happens is you're not stagnant as a person. So as you continue to grow and step into a bigger version of yourself, you're always going to have to work your trust muscle.
Yep.
So I don't think it never becomes a perfect, oh, I got this, because you're always pushing beyond what you believe is possible, or what you believe, a bigger version, or whatever you believe for yourself or desire. It's always scary at first to step into a bigger version of yourself. So in that scary place, you always have to remind yourself to trust.
Yes. I love that. And over again. And I think you've been doing that lately. And, I've heard it from you, where it's like, I keep doing it, but it keeps getting easier. You keep getting stronger with it, obviously. And, now you're booked out till May. So it's worth it. Right?
Yes.
So it's totally worth it. I love it. So let's see, you're manifesting more trips, I'm sure, by the time we talk to you next time, right? What else anything else coming up on the horizon that you're excited about?
I think it was like I was shocked by the trips and I was shocked by the bookings and everything because I was just like, like I said 90 days ago when we were talking, I was like, so that's pretty cool. I'm just looking forward to seeing all that other stuff that I have on my millionaire's budget and all that stuff coming into fruition. So each time, I get a new, pennies.
Yes.
I get so happy when I see a penny because that's the universe telling me I'm getting money. And I'm like, yes, I do a little dance. I drop everything because I'm like, ooh, money's coming. Because that's the sign to me that the universe is like, I got you. I'm about to find you some more money.
Yep.
So, a little sign to the universe, more money's coming my way. So I get excited when I see pennies because that is the definition I've defined as seeing a penny on the ground as the universe giving me signals, money's coming my way.
Yep. I love it. And
so I get so excited over a penny, let me tell you.
It's right. It's so awesome.
It's like, man, people are like, girl, that's just a penny, but you don't understand. That's just a penny, a tenth, 100th of what's actually coming. You just
yes.
For it.
Exactly. Right. Yeah. I love that. And I know like you do real estate. So inevitably, when I'm in a place that is, I always intuitively buy, but the universe always confirms it. Like one time we were in this place completely cleaned out. Mm-hmm. We'll go in the bathroom and there's a penny like right in the middle of the floor. Mm-hmm. Like there's nothing else in this apartment at all. Mm-hmm. So I totally get that. It's so fun. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's awesome. Cool. Any final thoughts for today?
No, I'm just excited to keep growing, growing into my bigger self. And I'm looking forward to all the stuff that's coming my way. So I'm in a very happy place, which is funny. I'm feeling elated.
Yes, let's talk about that a little bit before we wrap up.
Okay, the reason I mentioned that word specifically is because in my script, the feeling that I always reference in how I'm feeling for my script is elated. I always end my script with, I feel elated. I am grateful for blah, blah, blah. But elation is the feeling that I've scripted hundreds of times or dozens of times over the last couple of, months. And I'm literally walking around right now feeling elated. So, and also I have this perfect backlighting right now. So it makes it look like I'm glowing.
It does. It's like out of the phone, I'm like, you're glowing. You just look different. And you were like, I'm elated. And you're like, there it is. Right. It was this moment of, it actually now is coming out of my mouth. And I love that. So fun. All right. Well, thank you for joining us today. I'm looking forward to next time seeing what comes up in your life. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Make sure to tune in for Skye's next interview and the next interview next week on More Money. If you want to join the party, go to CassieParks.com and check out the Enchanted Circle.
Thanks for joining us on the More Money Show. To learn how to attract more money into your life, go to your favorite book retailer and order Cassie's book, Manifest $10,000.